Welcome everybody to the Watchlist, your virtual weekly TV guide right here on the Latin Nerds Network. Ready to talk about the films and shows that get released, give you our best recommendations, what to avoid, what to definitely put on your list. And of course, at the end of the show, it's a big week next week. Let you know all the shows are going to get dropped, let you know what's coming out, so you too can create your very own watch list. Now, normally, this is the part of the show where I introduce my co-host, Chewy, of course, who helps us out with these recommendations. He won't be around today, so I'm going to fly solo. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter show today. He's out gallivanting down the streets of San Diego. Of course, he's over at his annual trip to Comic-Con. Of course, having a good time out there. I know he asked all the actors and stuff. Everyone's on strike, and all the studios are apparently pulled out from Comic-Con for the most part. But it's still always good shit to see, of course, costumes, etc. So he's having a good time. So he'll be back next week to talk about the big week that is coming up along with myself. But let's get started here, and of course, I want to get the bad out of the way. And so we got some sad news, a little in memoriam, if you will. A couple of things. The first one, for anyone who were looking forward to a Masters of the Universe movie, look forward to it no longer, as Netflix has decided to kind of pull the plug on that, despite the fact that they spent a lot of money, a lot of millions of dollars in development. Yeah, they passed on it. It's not going to happen. We got the animated show by He-Man with Kevin Smith bringing it to us. Which was good. I enjoyed it. I know I got a lot of shit, but I did like that show. But yeah, so this one here, they may get shopped around, but for now, hit the skids. You are out. So if you're looking forward to that, my condolences. And of course, we pay our final respects to a Jack Ryan ending its 4th season run on Amazon. Of course, the spy thriller, based off the Jack Ryan book. So, we've seen some of the movies of Harrison Ford and Patriot Games, and I think Chris Pine did one as well, and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that finally ended its 4th season run. That's what I'll start with today, right? Because it's a show that I've enjoyed. I know Chewy's liked as well. It's a good kind of spy thriller series, and for the most part, John Krasinski, playing the role of Jack Ryan here. Good show. It's an exciting show. Has some good moments. Not a great show. It has the usual tropes this kind of shows will follow, right? But it's entertaining. It's done well. Again, just nothing mind blowing. It's not what I'm saying. Go rush out and watch the past 4 seasons and all that. But if this is kind of up the alley in terms of the genre, if you got this kind of genre, this is one I can recommend. It did end well. We always talk about sticking the landing, right? Is it worth watching, now that the ending's there, how did it end? Was it satisfactory, et cetera, et cetera? The ending was fine. Again, nothing spectacular. It did what it needed to do. It was another cool story. Michael Pena wasn't involved in the season, whose character I really liked. Interesting, spy thriller thing going on, and you gotta save the world and bombs and et cetera, terrorists. The usual stuff you see in these kinds of shows, but it wrapped up well, and I like how it ended. The 6-episode run, so I enjoyed it. But like I said, not one I'm saying go back and watch all 4 seasons. If this is your jam, you like those kind of spy thriller kind of joints, this is a good one. It was always consistent and well done over at Amazon. So sad to see that one go, but it is what it is. But let's talk about the stuff that did get released. And the first one here, we always talk about the movies, and that's They Cloned Tyrone is the first one on Netflix. Is one I heard some good things about. This one here, we have Jamie Foxx playing a pimp. You got John Boyega, who's a drug dealer, and I forgot her name, last name Paris, I believe, but she's gonna be in the Marvels. She was in WandaVision as well. Then she's a prostitute. They're in the hood, if you will. They're doing what they do, and John Boyega's character actually ends up getting shot and killed early in the film, and then they show his character waking up again as if nothing happened, but everyone around him knows that he got shot and died, and then discover that he has been cloned. So it's an interesting story. I don't want to get too much more into the details, but they're following the clues, following the down the rabbit hole for you to figure out what the hell's going on. He got cloned. Is he cloned? Is he not? Who's behind it all? And start discovering peeling back that onion and all these layers back there about who and what is behind this and what's going on and the purpose. I think Kiefer Sutherland's also in this as well, which I was not aware of. I'm a big fan of. But yeah, this one's actually a really good film. I always talk about Netflix, right? There's about 10% which are like legitimately very good to great films on Netflix. About 40-50% are just whatever, mediocre, maybe it's worth watching and entertainment for what it is. You don't pay for it. You already pay for Netflix. It's watchable. And about another 30-40% was just absolutely just straight garbage. It's straight garbage, right? This one, I'm going to put this in at 10%. I didn't think I was going to say it before, but it's a really interesting story, a good twist that's very satirical on, oppression of the black people. And I like that take on it, kind of bring a little more science fiction. That was very cool, very unexpected. It starts off like, okay, I've seen this kind of before. But then once you discover what's going on, it really turns this up on its head. Jamie Foxx, I thought he was pretty funny. It's a dark comedy. Very interesting, very fun film. I really like this one. It's kind of a, again, sci-fi mixed with that kind of black exploitation kind of film that used to see back in the 70s. That's the aesthetic of it. So it really worked out pretty well. I enjoyed this one. This is a high recommend for me on Netflix and all that. So you guys should definitely check that one out if you get a chance. Again, they Cloned Tyrone. The next one, let's start with the shows. And on FX Hulu, it's Justified Primeval, bringing this series back. Timothy Oliphant reprising his role. This is a show that was back in Netflix, back on FX years ago. Had like a 6-season run. Oliphant's character was a U.S. Marshal, down in Miami, and he got sent to Kentucky to confront someone he had to bring in, a villain played by Walter Goggins, who was great in that show. That was a really cool show. I like Elephant's character. He's very, very cool, calm customer, great rewards. I really enjoyed it. A really good show. Netflix, I keep saying Netflix, on FX, and it ended really well. I guess they decided to bring him back. I think it's been, I don't know, 7, 8, 10 years. I don't know. It's been a while since this show's been on, but this one I was looking forward to because I enjoyed the show, and this one now is picking up his character. He's got his daughter who's a teenager now, and I guess they're taking a road trip, living off in Everglades in South Florida, and he finds himself going to Detroit and kind of got roped into working a case, and now ends involved in another case with a very dangerous villain played by Brooke Holbrook, if I'm not mistaken, who's very good in this. I really like him a lot. So now he's on the chase for this new, of course, villain, who's a murderer, a thief, etc., etc. Now, what I like about the show, it's a really good show. They dropped 2 episodes on FX. It's gonna be a weekly show. You can catch it on Hulu on Wednesdays. If you're not familiar with this show, one thing I say about it, and which why I'm recommending, is because you don't have to have known anything about the previous seasons. This is like almost like a brand new show. Obviously, it continues his story, but they don't rely on anything from before. As you go in, it's a brand new story, a new location. So I like that, and it gives people a chance to check out which a show that I really enjoy. So this is a good recommend for me. I really enjoyed it. This really worked for me. It's like they just can get him back in the saddle. And that's it. I really like the character. Him playing the U.S. Marshal. It really worked. This was a good recommend again on Netflix Hulu. Again, you don't have to know anything about the previous seasons of the show justified to enjoy this one. You can go in fresh and clean, and it's a good definitely a good compelling show. I really like it. I'll give this one high marks for sure, absolutely. The next one is Minx season 2 coming out. This one, admittedly, I didn't see. I can't because I don't know how it starts. Chewy does. I'll probably ask Chewy how he thought about the show, but season 1, which was on HBO Max, now called Max, they decided not to renew the show even after filming the second season. Starz picked it up and they're bringing it back out, which is it's a really good thing because this is a really good show. I really like Minx. It's a good 30-minute comedy. We have a young woman, feminist, is back in the 70s when the feminist movement was at its peak, and she's trying to be a serious journalist. No one takes her seriously as a woman. She can't get a job anywhere. She ends up working for a magazine publication of questionable moral value. It's like a hustler kind of magazine, if you will. It's just writing for them, but she's obviously aspiring to do more. But he's also trying to make the magazine more palatable for women, right? And that's what the magazine takes off. So really funny show, a lot of great interactions, and it's a very adult show because it does deal with of course questionable magazines, sex and etc. This is a show I really enjoyed. I really liked this one, and like I said, HBO Max did renew it because they were doing a second season, so it wasn't like they didn't like what they saw. I really like this show. I know Troy's a big fan of the show, although I'm not seeing season 2. If you do have Starz, if you're one of the few individuals that has Starz, this is one you should check out. First season 1 was good. Season 2, I don't know. But the first season was good. It's definitely check it out. Again, only one season passed, 30-minute episodes. I think it was 8 episodes total, maybe 10. But I'll have Chewy chime on this one next week to see if it's worth it or not. But if you get Starz, check this one out now. It's on there. Now, the last thing is Special Ops Lioness. This one on Paramount Plus. Actually got dropped today on Paramount Plus. It's by Taylor Sheridan, who is everywhere, apparently. He writes everything, does everything, with Yellowstone, 1823, and 2 big shows, of course, both on Paramount, along with Tulsa King, Mayor of Kingstown, and many others. He's done some films as well. This guy is, here's another one, right? Apparently, this guy has a lot of time on his hands. I don't know how he does it, but it's with him. This one has an interesting cast, Nicole Kidman, Zoe Saldana, of course, from, the Marvel and the Guardians of the Galaxy. Morgan Freeman's going to be in this. There's been 2 episodes that I got to watch both of them. I didn't see Morgan Freeman yet, but he is in this. And this one here is basically, we have Zoe Saldana, who leads a CA, kind of special ops team. And she in the beginning of the film, beginning of the series, she's in an operation protecting an asset she had, infiltrating this terrorist group. She was compromised, and she had to make a decision to kind of kill everybody, essentially, including her asset. So now they gave her a new recruit. Basically, her team, the Lioness team, is what is known as. They recruit females in particular, and they use them to infiltrate terrorist organization and try to bring them down from the inside. And of course, the dad runs that, and she's trying to balance her life with the husband and the kids, and that's very difficult for her to do. And obviously, completing the mission. The new girl who they brought into it, total badass, right? She's got nothing to lose. Essentially, ended up joining the Marines on circumstances that that were dire for her, for her living situation. So she's now gets involved in the Marines, goes through the training, gets recruited because she's outstanding. She passes all the metrics that are for the men. She was able to surpass some of them, tested from the roof and the written test. So she's highly intelligent, total badass. So they bring her on board, and now she's in the process of learning, begin to infiltrate, and kind of goes through a very difficult training exercise, with the second season really focuses on, which is kind of effed up, to be honest with you. So it's that kind of premise. It seems like a kind of a thriller series, that kind of things. What's basically what this is. I like Taylor Sheridan's work a lot. The show, it has his touch, and you can tell it's his show's fingerprints all over it. I enjoyed it. I'm not jumping for joy about it, to be honest with you. I thought it was solid, well made. I like where this is going. I think it's going to get a little bit too tropey by the second half or later on in the season. I got a feeling we're going to see this 1,000 times before, like a Jack Ryan, right? It all comes down to the execution. But that being said, if it's executed well, yeah, it's a show you can probably enjoy. But I did like it. I think it's worth giving a shot. If you have Paramount Plus, it's a good show. It's off to a decent start. Not great yet. It hasn't reached those heights. Maybe it will. Maybe it doesn't. But I like where it's going. And the family aspect is difficult for Saldana's character, which I like. And then with the team, and they're trying to build a team. I like the girl who they brought in. I forget her name. She was in Lock and Key, the main villain on Netflix a couple years back. But she's great. I love her character. She's tough as nails, man. She don't fuck around, man, which I like. I like that a lot. So, but let's see when I start really getting into the mission, see how the show progresses from there. But so far, so good. I'm giving this a recommend. Not a high recommend, definitely a good recommend. You guys should check it out on Paramount. If you do have Paramount, there's one probably to put on. So that's really it for the weeks. Again, not a big week. Justified, Minx, and Lioness for the most part. And, they Cloned Tyrone as far as the one film that got released. But yeah, those are all of them. It's rare I get a week of all recommendations. This is one of them. Justified, definitely watch. Lioness was good. Minx, although I haven't seen season 2, I love season 1. Check that out. And Cloned Tyrone was actually a pretty good film on Netflix. Now next week, this is the big thing, right? The big week. So let's get started. What's coming out first on the 27th? We got a Netflix film, a German movie called Paradise. Very interesting here. Premise where it takes place in the future, some point where you can trade age for money. So you're able to give up years of your life to someone else to keep them young and all that, right? It's kind of a new sort of currency, something along those lines. And there's a man who's trying to prevent his wife, or at least maybe reverse the transaction, who his wife gave up 40 years of her life. Now she's trying to, so there's a big biotech company that runs this thing, so he's trying to go against them. Looks interesting. I like the premise, so let's see how that goes. On Peacock that same day is Twisted Metal, a new comedic series starring Anthony Mackie, again from Marvel, playing the new Captain America he will be anyway. This one here is based off the video game. This is from PlayStation years ago. I loved the game, and there were subsequent sequels in PS2 and PS3 and maybe PS4. I don't know. But it's a kind of a car combat kind of game, and so it's interesting they made that into a show. I was looking forward to it, really was. But then I saw a clip of the show, and it's terrible. The clip was awful. I have no hope for the show. I'm gonna check it out. Maybe it's just out of context. I don't know, but it looked really, really bad. But let's see. Again, Twisted Metal dropping on Peacock this week. Same day, we also got The Witcher comes back for the second half of I'll say the last season. Not really the last season, but Henry Cavill's leaving the show. So as far as I'm concerned, it's the last season. It's dropping the last 5 episodes this week. I'm a big fan of The Witcher, and so is Chewy. So that's always a recommend from us. Good Omens on Amazon. Amazon on the 28th finally come back for the second season. This one came out, the original first season, back in 2019. It's been 4 years, for Christ's sake, and maybe COVID and all that stuff got in the way, obviously. This one here is a kind of fantasy-esque story. We got an angel and a demon, who have learned to really love being living on Earth, and they're trying to prevent Armageddon so they can continue living on Earth. And so they decide to kind of work together on that one. It's a comedic show, very funny. I like the show. A great premise. This one I'm looking forward to. On Starz, if you guys are fans of this one, I don't have Starz, but next season of Heels has come out, and Chewy's a fan of that show. Same day, we got a movie on Netflix, Hidden Strike, the legendary Jackie Chan, and the not so legendary John Cena, but I do like John Cena. I'm just joking. Them two together in an action film, like a thriller show, action. Of course, it's Jackie Chan. Of course, it's action, right? Doesn't look great, but whatever. It's Jackie Chan. I'll give it a shot. And finally, this is actually the following week, but on the 30th, which is next Sunday, is Dark Winds Season 2, of course, on AMC Plus. I'm a big fan of the first season. Really liked that. Came out last year. We have, basically it's like a cop procedural, but on a reservation. Takes place in the 70s or 80s. I'm not sure. Forget. Reservation. Back then it's about a robbery in the first season, and how it tied into the reservation. And obviously, the authorities trying to chase him down, and then the guy trying to really keep the peace and all that. Very good show. Really liked it. Really enjoyed it. So looking forward to season 2. Again, that's on AMC this week if you guys are familiar with the first season. If not, go check it out. It's a really good show again on AMC. And its second season dropping again on the 30th. So that's basically what we have this week. So again, guys, next week Chewy is back in action. So he'll be joining us to talk about all the shows I just mentioned are coming out. It's a lot of stuff. You guys, all the shows, Silo, keep recommending people that you guys should check out. Platonic was a decent comedy on Apple Plus. Both of those on Apple Plus. The After Party is going on now, which I like, again, on Apple Plus. Which is dropping again. Lincoln Lawyer's out there. There's a lot of decent shows you guys can definitely check out. And I'll mention Warrior, HBO, one of my favorite shows right now. Maybe my favorite show currently airing right now is Warrior. Season 3 is outgoing now. Martial arts drama thriller show. Fantastic on HBO, dropping on Thursdays. You guys have to go back and watch it. It's so good. But that being said, thank you for watching. Subscribe, of course. We appreciate it. Keep us going. Comment, like, etc. Share, notification, hit all that stuff. And we'll see you guys again here every Sunday for the Watchlist and the Latin Network. See you guys next week.